Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our International Professional Development Institute. We are so fortunate to have all of you with us this morning, and in particular, we're fortunate to have with us our third lecture from Toni from the University of Connecticut, Renzulli Learning. And so she's here this morning to give clarity to that third
Hello,
leg.
everybody.
Hi. Good morning. Yes. Toni is here to talk about that third leg of the enrichment triad model. And so Toni, take it away.
Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. So great to see you again. Sorry, I do not have my camera on, but it's broke and it's just a black, you can just see the outline of me. So it's pretty distracting. So I figured that was not worth it turning it on. So I apologize for that. But welcome. Type 3 is my favorite part of Joe and Sally's school-wide enrichment model. Type 3 is where students, excuse me, that have done an inquiry-based learning, they've used critical thinking and creativity training, they've gathered data, and now they're ready to produce a product. So type 3s is the process, and it is with a product, and always a product that always isn't necessary. Sometimes students complete the full cycle, and then sometimes their research and their inquiry-based learning leads even to something new that they kind of stray away from where they started and move to a different direction. So type 3s are very fluid. So I'm just going to, I didn't share my screen, did I?
Not yet.
All right. Well, that's probably an important feature. All right. Can everyone see it now?
Yes.
All right. So type 3s. Type 3s are very easy to find in Renzulli Learning. They are very easy for the students to work through the process because they are organized in systematic steps. And I'm going to show you that, first of all, I'm going to show you the support for students that are ready to begin their type 3s. And then I'm going to show you different ways that students can look for passion projects or type 3s. So I'm going to go over to the tab that says My Projects. I'm on a student site right now. And as you can see, like so many other features of Renzulli Learning, there is a video that the student can watch. And you could do this whole group or small group or give it for homework. And it's just a way for the students to learn what are projects. And within that tutorial, it even explains how Joe and Sally, Dr. Joseph Renzulli and Dr. Sally Reese, call these type 3s and what it's all about. And not only what the pedagogy is, but how to use the features of the project-based learning. So students are able to create their own from scratch, or they can try one of our super starter projects. They can even search their through their differentiated search engine to find the projects that match their profiles. And that's pretty powerful, because remember, when a student does a type 3, it should be something that they are passionate about. And since our focus is on inclusion and diversity, there are many ways to use that to get the students involved and excited. It might be some students are interested in, like for myself, Jose, the chef, that guy is like an icon to me. He has traveled the world feeding people in disaster areas. During the Capitol riots, he was right there for the National Guard. And I would love to do a type 3 on him and on how he got started. He is an immigrant to the United States. So even though that would be to me a great way to understand how he came here from another country. He got started as a famous chef in Washington, D.C., but instead of keeping all that to himself, he spread his wealth to people that in diverse communities. So that would be something that I would love to do some investigative work on, and possibly a type 3, you know, finding a way that I could contribute to my community the way he has contributed not only to his community, but the world. So, so that way I would create my own. There probably isn't a super starter in Renzulli Learning. So I can go to create my own, and let's say I want this to be on giving back. So I can create my own project, and I can save, and it will take me to the format of how I'm going to work through the process of my type 3, my project. First, oh, I didn't. Okay. This is new. I have to complete this step. I'm doing a standard project. Now, it didn't know how to set it up for me, I guess. Why won't it? There we go. So now the planning piece is really type 2s, right? I have to gather information. I have to collect data. I have to do critical thinking. I'm going to be using creativity training skills. So all of that would be in the planning phase. And there is a video for each phase that describes that phase to the students, explains why it's important to plan before you begin. It's important to ask questions like, what's the focus? What do I really want to focus on in helping the community? And I'm going to focus on restaurants and ways that restaurants can use maybe unused food or ordering too much, how can they give back to the community in that way. So the planning piece is a very important piece. In that video will describe to them what this piece is all about. In addition, it also explains the functionalities, how to use the view and edit, how they can type, what that looks like. Let me just bring this up. It explains how to use the tools on the top of the page. So all of that information is included in this video on the planning piece. I love the fact that intended product, I may not know right now what my product's going to be because I really haven't done any research or investigative work yet, but I have some ideas that I'll just jot down in there. So I will just click view. It will probably be maybe in service, in leadership. I'll use technology. I might need to use my hands. And then I might want, what do I want to do? Do I want to visit restaurants and present my plans and give them ideas? Or do I want to maybe present to maybe a city council meeting on what I have found out in my research and development? So all of that is important, that a student, as they're planning their type 3, that they have a product that is of an interest and value to them, and also an intended audience that is authentic. And I tell kids that an audience always doesn't have to be a group of people. Maybe my work, I would like to submit it into a competition, or maybe I'd like to publish it or do a YouTube video on giving back to my community and what I found out through my research and investigative work. So those are the types of things that really excite me, because it's a way for students to feel like practicing professionals, that their voice matters, their work matters, and they have an audience to share their findings with. The find section is amazing. Again, you'll see that there is a video that describes this section to the students. I love this section because for two reasons. As a doer, everything that I collect for my type 2s are all stored in Find. So my documents, my citations, my reference materials, my videos, my web links, everything that I use to do my type 2s are stored in Find. So I don't have some on my desktop and some on my phone and some in Google Docs. They're all in one area. And even if I've used Google Docs, I can attach those Google Docs into my Find section, because then when my teacher goes to see what progress I'm making, all they have to do is open up the Find section, and the teacher can be able to view exactly what you're looking at. This is the teacher's view from the teacher site. And then the create piece, a video, test and improve. There is a type 3 rubric that is attached to this. And I really like this rubric because it's teacher student interactive. So students will mark on the rubric where they think they scored in blue, and then the teacher will score in yellow, and then they can have a conversation on why they thought their score was the way that it was. And then if they both agree, then they can change it to green. But the planning phase is here, the find, and it even has the summary of 3 rings of giftedness, Joe and Sally's work. But if this is something that doesn't pertain to what exactly you're doing, you can just delete it. So this rubric is in Word, so you can tweak it and change it any way that best meets the needs of you and your students. And then finally, the share piece. The share piece is having the students think about where are they going to get the most bang from their investigative work. Publishing it, entering it in a competition, like I said, school board meeting, maybe the local library, maybe a museum. If they created a museum piece, they can ask their local museum or library if it could be on exhibit there. So somewhere that is authentic for the artifact that they created. But also now we have the product showcase room. So students are able to record their presentation and then upload it into the showcase room. And think about this. Every one of those type 3s that the student has uploaded into the showcase room are type 1s for other students. So every time a student goes in and views another student's project, then they are exposed to a type 1. Even if they're familiar with the topic, maybe they didn't look at it exactly the way that the student has done their research and presented their work. So what a great way for schools to be able to have a perpetual cycle of type 1 to type 2 to type 3. And you know, a lot of times I'll watch a video that another student has done, and I'm like, wow, let me do some more research on that. So, and I'll do that. I'll do some research and collect some data. It doesn't mean I'm going to produce a product, but it interested me enough to do further investigative work. And that's the type of learning that you want going on in the classrooms. All right, so just real quick, I want to show you, and then I'll show you the super starters. But this is what the virtual showcase room looks like. So students will just click that on, and they have access to all of these incredible videos that other students have completed. So every time a student goes in to watch a video, it's a type 1 to that student that's doing the browsing. So I'm going to stop and ask if anyone has any questions. Is there
Avete
any,
domande? Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask if anything you wanted to translate, or if they need translated.
Se avete bisogno di qualche chiarimento, un'ulteriore traduzione, I'm translating on the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are awesome.
Thank you.
All right, just stop me if you need for me to stop. Just let me know. All right, so the other area I want to show you as well are our super starter projects. And these are projects that have been scaffolded for the student, and it's a great way for students, if this is their first type 3, this is a great area for them to begin. So let's say, for example, social action, since your theme is diversity and inclusion. So let's look at social action and see what is available. African American history, global pandemic. That would be a great inclusion and diversity, collecting research and data on different ethnic groups, and the availability to testing and the availability to the vaccines. What was the death rate compared? What could be done to make it more equitable for everyone? So that would be a great one. Cultural exploration, data collection and analysis. What a great way for students to study diversity, and is through looking at data and statistics. First Amendment, follow your dreams, getting along with others. This one would be a great one for inclusion, making everyone feel special, everyone feel talented and gifted. Go green for the environment, government. So you can see there are many that would fit in with some of the things that you're looking for. And when a student chooses an activity, for example, let's choose getting along with others. And notice when I add it, it looks exactly the way the one did when I created my own. It's the same process. The difference is when I open up planning, the planning pieces are there for me to begin my inquiry-based learning. I love the fact it asked if someone laughed at me when I struck out at baseball. I would. It has the students think through that, you know, maybe a student working on this has never felt bad or been bullied. And it lets them reflect, wow, how would that make me feel? You know, I never really thought of it that way. So just some questions. Intended product, write a story, write a new ending to a story, make a picture. the intended audience, your family, your teacher, your friends, and your classmates. Stone Soup, there's even, you can also send your story to a publisher. Now, how cool would that be for the students to do a piece on everybody getting along in centered on inclusion and making everyone feel included and welcome, and then writing a story and sending it to a publisher for a contest. So as you can see, the steps are the same. The difference is that the planning piece is there to get the kids up and going and running. So that's pretty important for students that are not used to inquiry-based learning, type 3s, project-based learning, whatever you want to call them. It gives them a good footing and scaffolding to get them started. And it also promotes those critical thinking skills. Joe's research shows that students that work on type 3s, students that participate in enrichment clusters and collaborate in areas of what they're studying, that those students develop the skills that they need to be critical thinkers in the future. And we don't know, I mean, this has been said a million times, but it's so true. We do not know what jobs there will be in 10 years, 5 years, but we do know that students need to be able to critically think. They should have creativity training skills so they can figure that out on their own. Especially now, it's a great skill to have. So students can be critical thinkers and choosing what they read and checking to see the bias of the article. So those are just tremendous skills that will take students all through their lives, not just through school, but through their lives. And then another way students can find projects is they can actually go to their differentiated search engine. And that's the magnifying glass right here. And they can type in super starter, because that's what the projects are called that are already started for students. And they can click search, and now it will bring up type 3s, bring up projects that match my profile. And I can go to projects, Bud Not Buddy, Business Matters. So all of these are type 3s that I would be interested in because they match my profile. Now, we just added these for Texas. They have a site that they call TEAK projects, and they're projects that are aligned to Texas standards. But my thought is that these are incredible projects, and we are there's about 250 of them that it will be available to everyone. And I want to show you how to find those. Those were 25 of them were just released today. And I want to show you how you as a teacher can find them and how students can find them. So if I go back to my search engine, that little magnifying glass, and I am going to type in TEKS, TEKS, and I'm going to search. It will bring up all the TEAK projects that match my profile. So here's one: culture shock, earthquakes, endangered animals. Let's see. Oh, there's some good ones. Let's just view one of these and see So these are a description of the unit, tells what the goals are. Phase 1, the learning experience, all of these are type 2s. Questions the student asks, as you can see, these are laid out just like our super starter projects. The research process, the product. So once these are all completed, there will be 250 of them. And like I said, we just added our first ones today, the first 25. So I'm really excited about that. And students, if you want to see all of them, these are just the ones that match my profile. But if I wanted to see all of them, I'd go back to my differentiated search engine. And instead of looking at search your own enrichment activities, I'm going to search the entire Renzulli database. And now it's going to bring up all of the type 3s that are in Renzulli Learning that match the Texas standards. So just another way for students. And another thing too, when they go in and they look, some of these may be type 1s to them. Maybe they never really thought about, what's this one? Figure it out. Identified population and analyze for their research. They will write a letter or article that uses the data to support solutions to the problem. So this one is on investigate about which can gather statistics, a survey on a population. So every time a student does a search like this, looking for a type 3, looking for a project, every time they go in, they're actually being introduced to new topics, which is a type 1. So I'm going to ask if you have any questions about the search engine or finding a project or the showcase room, anything that I showed or demonstrated, if you would like to see more of it or have any questions. Okay. So I am at the student site. So I'm going to go over to the teacher site. And when I go to the Teach tab, that's where all of the curriculum lives. And I can go to projects and I can search projects the same way that my students search them. So if I wanted to start a new project and I wanted to focus on inclusion, I could do that and send it to the kids. If I wanted to search Renzulli Super Starters, I could do that as well. And it looks the same as it did from the student site. The only difference is that there is an assign button. So if I found a project that I wanted all of my kids to work on, then I could assign it to them and they could work through the project as a team. And maybe the result could be that everyone would create a product that is within the way that they like to express themselves. Maybe students could buddy up and work on the project together. So that is a way that teachers can find projects. In addition, teachers can also go to their search engine, and their search engine is in the Teach tab, just like the projects were there, and go to search and type in Super Starter. And you can even filter the grade. So let's say I wanted to see Renzulli Super Starter projects, grades 3 to 5, and I'm going to search. And it will bring them up. So let's go back, and I think maybe I want to look at the ones that are focused on service. And social action. So now it's going to bring up just those ones. I am surviving COVID, go green for the environment. What else do we have? Oh, this is 3 to 5. Okay, let's add. So here are the ones that match my filters that I used on the left-hand side. And also, Super Starter is a great search if you're looking for type 3s to get your kids going, or you could type in TEKS. And I'll take the filters off, because I know we just have 25 of them right now. Once we have the 250 in there, you definitely want to filter your search so it doesn't bring all 250 of them up, right? So as you can see, it brings up the TEKS, the new type 3s that we've just added. So if I open this one up, and this one is on endangered animals. So in Renzulli Learning, the wonderful thing is that type 3s have already been set up, not only for teachers. If you wanted to do a class project, allowing the students to focus on the part of the project that's of interest to them, letting them present a product that is in their preferred expression style. There are opportunities for students to build on their skills on doing type 3s. So they can start with super starters and work up to creating their own project from scratch. So that's the beauty of Renzulli Learning, is because it is Joe and Sally's work. There is a lot of support and scaffolding for teachers and students when it comes to type 3s. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions.
Se avete delle domande o se volete condividere delle opinioni, fate pure, questo è il momento adatto. Se volete chiedere qualcosa, se vi è venuto in mente qualcosa da chiedere.
And with type 3s, I'm sorry, go ahead. And sometimes it's difficult for teachers not to have that control. But when students are working on type 3s, the teacher should be the facilitator. They should be there to facilitate, to guide. I used to like, when I was in the classroom, I used to like to have small group instruction. We would work on maybe how to cite your work, how to create citations, why it was important. We did a quick mini lesson on synthesizing or paraphrasing, writing, how to do research, how to expand your keyword searches instead of just searching for one word. What else does that one word mean? So I would have like little mini lessons building up So they would be more effective in research and development and inquiry-based learning. A lot of kids will tell me, Miss K, I can't find anything. Well, let's brainstorm some other words that you could search rather than, let's say it's inclusion. What are some other words that you could use for that piece? Students, I know myself, I still have a difficult time reading something and then summarizing it in my own words and writing it. So that's a necessary skill for type 3s. So all of those, I would have little small group instructions on different areas, but the projects themselves, I didn't do any of the work. I didn't tell them how they had to do it because it was their baby. It was their interest. It was their project. And I was just there to guide and facilitate for them. All right, any other questions? Does everyone have a good sense on how the teachers can find type 3s and how the students can find them? And on the teacher site, it's in the Teach tab. Everything that has to do with curriculum lives in the Teach tab. Your search engine and projects. So if I click on projects as a teacher, I can create my new project from scratch, just like the students, or I can look at the super starter projects. And if I wanted to assign one to my kids, I would just click the assign button, choose the students that would be working on this project, write them a note, and click submit. So that's how easy it is to find a type 3 and to share it with your students. And then on the student site, the students go to my projects and they too can create their own project from scratch, or they can look at the super starter projects, the ones that are already started for them. They can go to their differentiated search engine and look for super starter projects that match their profiles. And all of these projects match my profile, and I can even now, and I will let Connie know as soon as we have all the teaks in there, but they're adding about 25 a day. So students will have access to about 250 more type 3s that they can look for. Another thing I wanted to show you too, I tell kids, for example, I want to do a project on diversity, let's say. So I want to see if there's anything in Renzulli Learning that can get me going. So I'm going to go to my search engine, which is that little magnifying glass. And I'm going to do an advanced search. And I'm really looking for projects in independent study. And I'm going to put my grade level in. And I'm pretty smart, so I'm going to do the first 6 to 9, and I'm going to type in inclusion. And click search and see if there's anything. So here's a civil rights activity book, teaching tolerance. So this might be something that I'm interested in. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to search all of Renzulli Learning instead of just what matches my profile. And I also, let's see, let me try diversity. So there's 39 projects: art, activism, physical disabilities, California missions, dealing with dilemmas. A lot of great topics here that students could look for projects that they could work on. Make a digital documentary about Chinese immigration. Racial injustice awareness activity. Analyzing a culture. Run away from freedom. As you can see, there's so many incredible ways, information that the students discover Africa, making peace. Walk in my shoes. I like this one. Wow, changing attitudes, choosing a helper. All old folks are not the same. Look at this. Youth reading list. So as you can see, there's so many ways in Renzulli learning for students to be able to look for type 3s. And that was the way, I mean, I just typed in diversity, inclusion, and just chose projects. I didn't want to look for websites and games, and I just wanted to focus on projects and independent study. So I'm going to hop back to the teacher site, because you as a teacher can do the same exact searches and share those activities with your kids. So I'm going to pop over to the teacher site. And again, all of my curriculum lives in the Teach tab. So I'm going to go down to my search engine, and I'm going to type in diversity, and I'm going to put my grade levels in, and I'm going to go down to my filters, and I really am just looking for projects in independent study. And now I'm going to search. So it brings up the results. And if I see one that I went, wow, run away from freedom. If I see something that I think the kids will really, really appreciate, all I have to do is click the share button. Choose the students I want to share this activity with, and click submit. And now that activity will be waiting in their inbox, as well as automatically saving it to their favorites. So as you can see, there are so many ways for students to be able to find something that really is of interest and meaningful to them for their type 3. Any questions? So this is, oh, go ahead.
Yes. In your experience, is it better than the students look before at the Superstarter project, or they create a new project immediately?
That's a great question. Most students, I recommend the super starters to begin with, because it is, even if they're going to go in a different direction, for example, because it gets them started. I tell kids that the super starter shows them what a good project looks like. So once they have experienced the scaffolding of these projects, then when they go to do their own, it will be so much easier for them. And I tell kids, let's say, for example, create a robot. Why not, like, say they really want to create a robot, why not direct that and do your research with inclusion and diversity as your theme? What is your robot going to do to make things better? You know, how maybe a robot, creating a robot that treats all people equally and believes in equity for all people, not so much everybody equal, but giving people what they need. So I tell kids to be creative. Let's talk about it. Like if a student says to me, I really want to create a robot, but I don't know how to fit this in to diversity and inclusion. Well, how about creating a robot and doing a manual on how the robot will fit in with the class, with all the other students? You know, what do the students have to do? What does the robot have to do so they feel welcomed and as important as the students do? So I like to let students kind of look at the super starter projects and then find a way to center it around the focus of what I'm teaching. Does that answer your question, Francesca?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
awesome.
you. Yes.
And even veterans, I tell kids, you know, if you find a super starter project that you go, wow, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, go for it. You know, it's not that they're any easier. It's not that they're not going to be using their critical thinking skills or creativity training skills, right? They're still going to be developing all of those wonderful skills. It's just that they have a little kickstart in the super starter projects. And I get my best ideas from my kids. Like even you know, my grandkids, they'll say, oh, you know what I want to do with Renzulli learning? And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that, guys. I'll pass that along to my teachers. That's awesome that you thought of that. So letting your students, giving them a little bit of choice, it's amazing, the good choices that they do make. Any other questions? All right, anything else that you would like to see more of, either on the teacher site or the student site? Don't forget about these showcase rooms. I've been working on an art show for my grandkids. This is their art show. This is Dylan's work. So I take pictures of their artwork and then I upload it. And then other people that are on Renzulli Learning in our school will be able to see their incredible artwork. Some teachers have even used that for like outside activities, students that have won medals or entered a competition or hit a home run in a baseball game. They have personal successes, a showcase room where students can upload something that they've achieved outside of school into the showcase room. And again, every student that goes in and watches those videos or those drawings are type 1s. They're getting ideas for their own selves and the direction that they would like to go, maybe with an after school activity. Any other questions? Well, you have my email address and my cell phone number. Of course, if you live in Italy, it's probably not as easy to call me, but you're more than welcome to. but only if you invite me to your house to stay, and then you can call anytime. But no, you have my email. Please reach out to me. I want you to be successful, and I want your kids to be excited. So any question that you have, if you need to send it through Martina to be so she can translate it, that's fine too. But I would love to hear from you, and I would love to hear how you're using Renzulli. I would love some stories on the successful things that you're doing with Renzulli learning with your kids. I would love to hear those. Connie or Joyce, is there anything you would like to add before we bid adieu?
No, I don't have anything, Toni. I think you've been very thorough. We just need to have time to spend a little time on the site and practice.
Yes.
Saying all the wonderful.
And go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just going to say that was a great point, Joyce. Sometimes those are when your questions pop up, is when you are exploring, because you really don't know what questions you want to ask right now. And that's when please feel free to reach out to me so we can get those questions answered.
Well, I'm just going to say thank you to everyone. We have 2 more sessions. I'm pretty sure Joyce planned to mention these, but I wanted to thank Toni, because this is Toni's last session with us this fall. We'll have her again next spring. But Audrey has a very special presentation on Thursday on microaggression and leadership. And then I am closing things off on Saturday with a session on that's more of a type 3 session, and Audrey's will relate to that as well. So we welcome you back on Thursday and Saturday, and it's just about time, but we do have a few more minutes. So Toni, is there anything else that you would like to add in terms of some of the other features that they might use with their students? I know translation, we've kind of addressed that. There's some other areas that aren't translated, either in audio or in visual, that I know you're working on. The profiler is in Italian, right?
It is.
So that should work.
Did I show all of you the ology? This is my new favorite site. If you go to the Teach tab and you go to search and you type in ology, O-L-O-G-Y. I have spent so much time on this site. I had to make myself get off because I needed to get to work. And then I'm going to click search. And then when it brings up the results on the right-hand side, I'm going to go to AMNH, American Museum of Natural History, and click ology. And open that up. And these can, I check for you guys, these can actually be translated. But look at this. You know what I love about these is it gives the kids so many choices to choose the ology that they are interested in. Plus the fact that these could turn into type 3s because every one of these has a hands-on. And let me go back. I put my little translator up there for you guys. I actually was been working with a group of professors from South Korea. So I had a Look, there you go. How cool is that? All right, so I don't know which ones I'm going into because I can't read Italian, but so let's see if I can translate this one as well. Whoops. There we go. Hello. Look at that. This is my favorite because it has videos, it has books, it has all the learning styles in one area, including a hands-on, which could be a type 3. Look at that. I got to put it in English because I don't know what I'm reading, but it has games. Rising, my oh, it's not working today. I was just gonna say my grandson and I played it the other day and it was a lot of fun. You put cars on the road and they can be electric cars or they can be cars driven by gas. You choose how many power plants are in your city, how many trees, and on the right-hand side, which my grandson is so into data, it shows a data chart, and it shows whether you're doing a good job or a bad job in protecting our climate. But I wanted to make sure that you saw this one because these ologies are just, I love them. They're just so cool. And I love the fact that students can actually, there's lots of choices for them in finding the ology. And who knows, maybe a student will grow up to be a marine biologist or a paleontologist, you know, who knows, just by exploring a site like this. Here's one on physics. Now that would never interest me, but let's pop into it. I always like to look at things that I don't think I'm interested in. And then as soon as I open it up and start reading some of the stories or playing the games, I'm like, you know what, that's pretty interesting. I didn't think I would be interested in this physics site. So I wanted to make sure that you saw this as well before. And I'm going to close on that one because I think you'll enjoy that. You could even do that with your classes, whole group and project it. You could send that to your kids and let them explore. So it's just a great way to get them interested and in reading more complex text and diving deeper and using those critical thinking and creativity training skills. So I want to thank you all. Some of you I'll see in the spring. I look forward to it. And as always, you are always such a pleasure to work with. I always look forward to working on my Tuesdays with you guys. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Toni. You have a happy holiday season, and we'll be contacting you soon to set the dates for the spring lectures.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Bye.
Early.
Bye. Thank you.